what's up everybody, and welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, here today to talk about a very exciting release from the Criterion collection. I know I was really excited for this. I haven't heard a ton of people really talking about this one, but I'd never seen this movie before, and as soon as I heard it was a Coen Brothers movie, I was all over it. I'm like, I'm getting that day one when it comes out. I don't care. I'm not waiting for the sale, but this is Miller's Crossing. So this one just came out this week, February the 8th. And yeah, I'm really excited to talk about it. I really enjoyed this film. We're going to break it down. I'm going to talk about the movie. We're going to talk about audio-visual quality, packaging, special features, all that stuff. And then at the end, I'm going to give you all an overall score, which is not something I usually do, just on this release, a 1 through 5 score. And then I'm going to tell you if it's worth picking up. But before I get into all that, guys, I want to ask that if you are not yet a subscriber to the Mid-Level Media channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button for more content. I do all kinds of stuff on this channel, mostly centered around the world of physical media. New 4K and Blu-ray reviews like this. I do collection updates, live streams with other collectors. I do Blu-ray hunting videos, physical media reports every single Monday where I update you on all the latest happenings in the world of physical media. So if you like that kind of stuff, if you like physical media, Blu-rays, 4Ks, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. And also be sure to like this video and comment down below, do you plan on picking up this new Criterion edition of Miller's Crossing? Have you seen this movie? Is it one of your favorite Coen Brothers movies? Where does it rank in their filmography? Let me know in that comment section below. And also turn on those bell notifications for future videos. So yeah, guys, like I said, I was excited to get into this. I'm a pretty big Coen Brothers fan. I would consider myself a big Coen Brothers fan. I've seen a lot of their big movies. You know, No Country for Old Men, of course. I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Fargo is great. Big Lebowski is great. So they've got an excellent filmography. And I just saw Blood Simple for the first time last year. Now, when I talked about Blood Simple on the channel, and I still don't have that Criterion, I need to own that. But when I talked about Blood Simple on the channel, everybody immediately brought up Miller's Crossing as one of the Coen Brothers' best films. And I never got around to watching it last year. It was like early last year that I was getting this as a recommendation. So when Criterion announced this, I was like, I'm getting this day one. I don't care because I've heard so many great things about it. So I'm excited to, I was really excited to watch this one. And this movie, like I said, directed by the Coen Brothers. Only Joel Coen has directing credit for this, but Ethan Coen is a producer and he's uncredited as a co-director on IMDb. So I imagine he was helping directing, but Joel Coen actually gets the sole directing credit for this movie. So I guess it's not a true Coen Brothers film, but it probably, I still think that you can call it that. But it's written by Joe Coen and Ethan Coen, starring Gabriel Byrne, who, if you don't know who Gabriel Byrne is, he was in Usual Suspects, but he was also most recently in Hereditary. He was the dad in Hereditary. That's probably one of the first Gabriel Byrne movies I've ever seen, at least that I can remember. I'm sure I saw Usual Suspects after I saw Hereditary, but those are the two big movies that I know him from. Albert Finney is in this movie as well, who the movie that jumped out to me that I know him from is Aaron Brockovich, and then John Turturro, who's been in tons of stuff. He's been in tons of Coen Brothers stuff, Big Lebowski, and I believe he was in Fargo as well, and of course like the Transformers movies where he acts like an idiot, and he was in Mr. Deeds. He was the bellhop or whatever in the elevators, so that was always a really funny John Turturro role. And you also got cameos. I can't really say cameos. They weren't like famous at the time, but Frances McDormand is in this movie, which she was the lead actress in Blood Simple, so they cast her for just a really small part in this one. You also see Steve Buscemi. So a lot of the trademark Coen Brothers actors and actresses are in this film, just in smaller roles and parts. But yeah, guys, overall, I really enjoyed this movie. It's like a gangster crime drama set during the Prohibition era in the 20s, and I don't feel like we get or at least I haven't seen enough of these types of movies set during this era. I know Boardwalk Empire was a big show on HBO back in the day, which Steve Buscemi was the lead of, and he's in this movie. Maybe he got that part because of the little part that he plays in this, I don't know. But I don't feel like I've seen this particular era portrayed in film a whole lot. So it's a really interesting era to dive into, a really interesting time period. So you basically have Tom Reagan, who is played by Gabriel Byrne, and he's an advisor to a Prohibition era crime boss who is Albert Finney, which character's name is Leo, and he's trying to keep the peace between these warring mobs, but gets caught in divided loyalties. So he's kind of, it's this like double crossing thing. He's like really playing both sides. There's a girl that comes into play. They're kind of not really fighting over this girl, but she's kind of going back and forth between the two of them. And that's played by Marcia Gay Harden, who I know her from Flubber. I think she was in, but she was also the the crazy lady in The Mist as well. So she's been in tons of great movies, and she is stunning in this movie. This is probably the oldest movie I think I've seen her in, so she's very young in this film, but definitely excellent in this movie. You got John Turturro, like I said, in this film, who's just been in tons of other types of movies. So it's a really good cast, and they all work together really well throughout this film. I'm trying to get the name of the other crime boss. It was John Polito, and he plays Johnny Casper. So he's fantastic in this movie. It definitely reminds me of Danny DeVito a little bit. Just some of the lines that, like, he almost sounds just like Danny DeVito with some of his line delivery. I almost wonder if Danny DeVito was supposed to get this part and it was given to him or something. But he's really great. So you got him and you got Albert Finney, and they're kind of warring over killing this guy who's being protected by Alfred Finney's Leo, and his Marcia Gay Harden's brother, who Albert Finney loves her. It's a whole thing like family drama and stuff. But anyway, Johnny Casper wants to kill John Turturro, so they kind of go to war with each other. And Gabriel Byrne's kind of playing both sides of that. So that's kind of the setup for the movie. So it's a really interesting movie. It goes in a lot of different directions. It's engaging. Like I said, all the performances are fantastic. Gabriel Byrne is just super charismatic and engaging all throughout this movie. I really loved him in this film. Like I said, Marcia Gay Harden is very charismatic as well and very captivating in this film. And yeah, I just think everybody's really great. It's a real ensemble film. Everybody's just like playing off of each other. The dialogue's really quick, really snappy, really flows good. And it just has some really solid direction in it as well. It's the cinematography in this movie was done by Barry Sonnenfeld, who, if you don't know who that is, went on, I think, a year later to direct The Addams Family. He directed Men in Black. So he was a really talented cinematographer, and I think he did a lot of movies with the Coen brothers. I think he did Blood Simple with them as well, but I could be wrong on that. So cinematography in this movie is absolutely spectacular. Some of those scenes in the field with the trees and stuff in the wooded areas, just the long shots that they're showing, absolutely fantastic. Even some of the scenes like in the actual houses and like the offices and stuff where they're, I'm thinking of the one scene where you got Johnny Casper. He has his henchman on the ground and he's beating him with the shovel, and it just kind of shows this close up from the ground. It's just stunning shots. So the cinematography's absolutely spectacular. And this movie's got some really good, I would say, action in it. Some really like solid set piece moments. It's not all like dialogue. I absolutely loved it. Blew me away, the sequence with Alfred Finney, Leo, when they come to get him, and he just takes them all out with his Tommy gun. And he like jumps off the balcony and he's like holding on, he like drops to the ground, and he's just like a complete badass, just like the Terminator walking through the streets, like, and he shoots him in the car while they're driving by shooting him, and he's just like, all these bullets are like flying past him. He doesn't get hit. It's completely unrealistic, but it's completely awesome. That's probably like my favorite set piece scene of the whole movie. But just the way this film portrays violence, it's just really, it's graphic, but it's also like, I don't know, it's really cool and slick too. I just like the way that they show people getting shot up, because the sequence where he's shooting him with a Tommy gun from below, like up to the balcony in the window, the guy's just getting lit up, and it just it holds on him as he's getting the bullets like penetrating his skin. It's almost played for comedy a little bit. There's definitely that trademark Coen brothers comedic style and sensibilities in this movie. But it's just an awesome sequence. I love that whole sequence. But yeah, like I said, everybody's great in this movie. Gabriel Byrne's fantastic. Albert Finney's fantastic. The way that everybody just plays off each other is awesome. John Turturro's great in this movie. It's just a really solid movie with some really great performances, a really engaging story. And I constantly get surprised just with these movies I've never heard of. And I go back and watch them. I'm like, why have I never heard of this? This is like, I wouldn't put this on the same level as Fargo or No Country for Old Men, but it's damn close. It's a really great movie. And you don't hear anybody talk about this in the way that they talk about Fargo and some of the Coen brothers' other films. So I will tell you right now, 100%, watch this movie, whether it's on streaming, whether you get the $10 Blu-ray, because I think it does have a Blu-ray out already for $9.99, or you purchase this Criterion. This is a must-see movie. You gotta check it out. It is a great Coen brothers film. If you are a fan of them, you will love this movie. And just a really cool setting during that period piece, roaring 20s, like the Prohibition era. It's an era that I do want to dive into a little bit more with film. So as for the actual movie, guys, I'm going pretty high with that. I think I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think it's damn near perfect the way it's put together. And I really Just really enjoyed this movie. So 4.5 out of 5 for the actual film. Now let's get into the visual quality to this, because this is a 2K digital restoration approved by director of photography Barry Sonnenfeld and filmmakers Joel and Ethan Coen, with new 5.1 surround soundtrack mix presented in DTS HD master audio. So there, I gave you a little bit of the audio info in there as well. But yeah, it's very it's super awesome how they did get the Coen brothers. Like, they must have collaborated very heavily with the release of this movie, and you can just tell they're super passionate about it. They give a 30-minute interview in the special features about this movie, and it's awesome. But yeah, really cool that they came back to help supervise the restoration, and I think it really helped because this looks fantastic. Again, I have no reference for how this movie looked before. This is a first time watch for me. I haven't seen the Blu-ray, haven't checked it out on streaming. I know it probably had a DVD. I haven't seen that as well, obviously. But I thought it looked great. Like, the setting definitely lent itself well to this upgrade and transfer. Some of the colors just really pop, in particular in some of those like inside sequences, like in their gangster offices, headquarters areas and stuff like that. Just like the wood and paint on the walls, some of the chairs they're sitting in, some of the red chairs just really pop. And they have some really close like facial close-ups in this movie that just really highlights just how well the transfer is, because those facial features just look super detailed and well done. It's almost like it's not like on the HDR 4K level quality, but it's like there's certain sequences where I felt like it was of that level in quality. So I don't know, like I said, some of the sequences outside with the trees and stuff, just it's a very colorful movie, and it just looked fantastic. One thing also that I noticed is they smoke a lot in this movie, and the smoke just looks super crisp and clear, like when it was just coming off of them. Sometimes you'll watch stuff and you'll see people smoking and it looks all kind of blurry, but the smoke, like you could see like the lines in the smoke as they were like elevating in the air above them. And I just thought it looked super cool, and it just added to the aesthetic of this movie so much. So I can't say enough good things about the transfer. I thought Criterion, the Coens, Barry Sonnenfeld, everybody that worked on this transfer, it really helped. This movie looks immaculate. One of the best Criterion transfers that I think that I've seen. So loved it. Absolutely loved the transfer. Like I said, the sound, just listening to it on the soundbar, but I absolutely loved the score to this movie. It sounded fantastic. And like I said, the movie overall it sounds fantastic. It looks fantastic. Again, just listening to it on the soundbar, so I don't have that full 5.1 setup. So can't really speak to that. Now let's get into the special features, guys, because there's tons of great special features on this. Criterion just really went all out, like, and their actual like setups. I know we've seen a lot of special features recently. I know Fast Times at Ridgemont High did it, and I understand with the pandemic going on and everything, they have the Zoom call special features and stuff like that. People have issue with that because the quality's not very good. These are like professional setup, like interview style interviews with the directors, with the cinematographers, with the people that scored the film. And yeah, the actors, you had Gabriel Byrne and John Turturro come back to give a 30-minute interview on this movie together. So you got to see their dynamic together, like coming back to talk about it after all these years. Just some very cool special features with this one. It was like above and beyond like anything I've seen from Criterion in quite some time. So yeah, you'll be glad to know that, because I know some people have an issue with those Zoom call interviews and stuff, but these are like very well done, very well lit, very well shot, like professional, like 2020 style interviews, like news interviews. And the girl that they had doing this, conducting those, I'm trying to get her name right now, but it's author Megan Abbott. And I thought that she was an excellent moderator for these interviews. She asked some really good questions and really engaged the actors and directors in some really good conversations. So the one with the Coens, they really dive into like the history of film noir, and it's super fascinating hearing them talk about movies like The Maltese Falcon and some of the classic film noirs and how they inspired them writing this movie and directing this movie. So just some really great interviews. Gabriel Byrne, John Turturro, super charismatic in their interviews, and I just like watching those two like interact with each other and just talking about the movie that they were a part of. So that was super cool, guys. Just tons of great interviews in this. Like I said, you get an interview with Sonnenfeld, the composer Cardo Burwell, music editor Todd Kawas, and the production designer Dennis Gassner. So just like I said, just the special features, I can't say enough about it. So let's get into the packaging on this one, guys. I love the artwork on this, and of course it has what I would consider to be a pretty iconic scene in the movie. And I don't want to talk about it. I tried to stay away from it when I was talking because it's a big plot point in the movie and it kind of gives a lot away. But really, like, no context is really given here. It's just, you kind of look at it, but you'll know when you watch the movie. But I love the cover of this. I think it's one of the strongest Criterion covers. Open it up right here, guys. The disc art is fantastic. You got that hat in it, which kind of comes into play in the movie. You got this kind of brochure style pamphlet thing, which is really cool because it's kind of writ out like an old school, like, newspaper pamphlet from like back in the day. So that's pretty awesome. It's got some cool images from the film as well. You got this cool little background piece behind the disc in that pamphlet. So overall, you know, it's Criterion. So I always love the digipacks that they do, but the original, you know, Criterion covers and cases are pretty cool too. But I just think this has great artwork. So overall, guys, as for a release overall, I highly recommend picking this up. I think it's $27.99 on Amazon. You could wait 4 or 5 months till the Criterion sale in July and pick this one up. But I think it's excellent, and I think it's worth the price point of $27.99. I'm going pretty high on my scoring right here just for all the special features, the movie itself being so great. I thought it looked fantastic, so I'm going pretty high with this one. I'm going to 4.5 out of 5. So the only thing that really takes away, I think, is, you know, it kind of sucks they didn't do like an audio commentary because I know a lot of people love listening to those. So especially since they had Joel and Ethan Coen around approving the transfer, it's kind of weird that they wouldn't do an audio commentary. And I don't know if they've had one in previous releases before, but that would have been an extra added. That would have been the cherry on top for this release, but still a spectacular release. Well worth your money. I recommend picking this one up right now, especially if you're a Coen Brothers fan. You'll really love and appreciate this movie. But with that, guys, I appreciate everybody watching this review of Miller's Crossing, the new Criterion edition. Let me know in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on this movie? Are you going to pick up this Criterion release? Let me know all that in the comment section below. I will be leaving the link for purchase in the description below, guys. Be sure to subscribe and like the video and turn on those bell notifications for all future videos. Follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are in the description, and we'll see you next time.